Hi, my name is Chubbs. You may or may not know me from being trash at video games, and if you don't know...
Now you know.
Anyway, I just wanted to give a really quick breakdown of some of the mechanics and the differences between the two different characters in the Mortal Shell demo. So, let's go. Alright, so this is going to be a really quick playthrough. I'm sure most of you have seen all of this footage somewhere else. First off, you start as this little guy here, who the dialogue refers to as a foundling. And I'm going to leave some of the tutorial boxes up so you can read it, and if you need to, you can pause and take your time to read it, and I'll try to explain it as best I can. First off, you have Harden, which acts sort of like a block and can interrupt certain enemy attacks. You also have a dodge, so the first press acts as like a quick step, and the second press acts as a roll. And then for any of you who've played the Dark Souls games, you have the same basic attacks where your right shoulder button is going to be your basic attack, and then the trigger is going to be your stronger attack. I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but I played this game for many hours, and as you can see, I'm still trash. But one of the cool things about the harden mechanic is that you can actually harden mid-attack, which sets you up for like some really cool opportunities to do damage and negate damage at the same time. And then of course, if you're doing a dash and you hit right trigger at the same time, you'll do a jumping attack, the dunk. I'm just gonna run through this little boss fight real quick. Basically, you're not supposed to beat it, but at some point I would like to. It's just that you do really crap damage at this stage in the game. So yeah, beating that boss is going to take a lot of patience, but at some point I'll get around to it. It's like an obsession of mine at this point. And let me just take a second to point out that I love how like cryptic this game is. Like everything just seems like really esoteric and weird. And I love it. So the first mortal shell that you're going to get in the demo is this guy right here. This is Harros, the Vassal, aka the Tank. So in addition to your harden, you also get this little emblem here, which lets you parry. And whenever you get a successful riposte, you get health back. You also get a special move with each of the different weapons, and each of those moves costs what's called resolve. The same thing with the riposte. It spends resolve, right? And resolve is this little yellow bar down here in the left-hand corner, right above the health and stamina bar. Also down there is that little circle, and that indicator will tell you whenever you can harden again. See, I just hardened right there, and then it's on a cooldown, and it'll come back up. And what's cool with Harros is you can actually get a skill in the demo that reduces the cooldown of harden by 25%, because his kit is very dependent on the harden mechanic, right, which you're going to see later. So this is the second area here, and like I said, I'm just running through this real quick to get to the boss fight so I can show you how each of the different shells plays. Okay, so the next guy you're gonna get is this guy right here. This is Tiel the Acolyte, aka Juke City. And in a minute, you're gonna see why he's called Juke City. His whole kit revolves around his stamina. As you can see, he's got a smaller health bar than Harros does, and a gigantic stamina bar compared to him. And the weapons that pair best with him, you can use any weapons with either of the shells, but the weapons that pair best with him are the hammer and chisel. The hammer and chisel are meant to be sort of like the dual blades in Monster Hunter. They're meant to be fast and hit more often and get their damage in that way, as opposed to the hollow sword. And with TL, you can straight up run from where you pick him up all the way to the boss fight without running out of stamina. I just take a couple pauses in between for safety reasons. So as you can see, whenever he does his dodge, he kind of dissipates into smoke, which is fucking dope. And if you watch, I can dodge all of this guy's stuff and still have so much stamina left over, and then you just weave in a couple attacks here and there. And that's sort of the pacing that you have with TL the Acolyte, where you can dodge damage really fast and then get in a hit or two. And then with this boss, if you hit him like enough times, he will stagger and fall down like that. And most of the stuff with him, you can just sidestep. Which, let me just say, those icicles that you see falling around are probably the hardest part of this boss fight once you get used to it, and you're gonna see why in a minute. See? Juke City. Just bobbing and weaving all over the place. And while TL's kit is more meant to be fast and take advantage of his stamina to dodge, he can definitely still use Harden, and I'm going to use that here in a second to save my life from something really stupid because I got caught off guard. See it right there. And one of the reasons I wanted to show the gameplay this way, like running straight from the tutorial to the boss fight, is I wanted you to see what the boss fight looks like from a baseline, because I have some of the upgrades that make this fight a lot easier, and my gameplay is definitely not perfect by any means. Like, I take a ton of damage in this boss run and the second one that I do with Harros, but I wanted somebody just picking up the demo for the first time to see that it's definitely doable without any of the upgrades. And apologies for the janky video. It happens a couple times in this playthrough, but for some reason OBS just does not like me sometimes. Which, that's another thing with this game, is it is still a little buggy. It is the beta. I've had the game crash on me probably 4 or 5 times out of the 5 to 6 hours that I've played it. And then there's an issue that I've run into, and I've seen other people run into, where your controls will just stop working. Like, you can't dodge for some reason, or you won't even be able to attack at some points. It's really weird. But like I said, it is the beta, and some of these bugs will be worked out at some point. Bam, and there it is. That's the boss fight with TL. And wait for it. Wait for it. Told you, icicles. Fucking icicles, man. Oh, man. Okay, so that's basically the end of the demo. You just go through here, and then you talk to your Mama Janessa here. Which this part of dialogue here, I had not heard yet because I hadn't ever approached her outside of a shell. Basically, she's there for your skill upgrades, and you can jump straight into another playthrough from that point, which is exactly what I'm about to do here. And then a quick note about running around as the little dude outside of a shell. Once you get knocked out of your shell, anything can one-shot you. Anything can one-shot you. Like, there's a little frog out in this area who can attack you and poison you, and I'm pretty sure even that would one-shot me. But thank God for hardening. And then there's something at the end of this playthrough that I was really confused about. Like, I wasn't sure how it happened, but I'll explain it when we get there. First off, let me go pick up Harros again. And then I'm gonna pick up the hollow sword, which is right there next to him. And like I said, you can use any of the weapons with either of the shells, but I feel like they have weapons that fit them better, you know? Like, I definitely feel like the Hollow Sword fits Harros a lot better because he doesn't have as much stamina to use, like, the really quick weapon. And see, his stamina bar is so puny compared to Tiel. And like I said earlier in the tutorial, the harden can be used to like create some really cool opportunities for damage, especially when you harden mid-attack like I'm about to do here. I like to do a dunk and then harden, so when he hits me, we trade damage like that. And then of course you get the empowered riposte, which, like I said, costs resolve. And this boss is parryable. That attack that I parried is the only one I know of that can be parried from him. I'm sure you can parry other moves. I'm just shit at parrying. And I only do it once. I think I try to do it at another point and I take damage because of it. And if you watch my stamina bar, man, it is so hard to keep that thing up during this boss fight if you just dodge the entire time. That's why the harden is really useful. Which, something that I don't show in this gameplay is you can just like harden indefinitely and you won't break it until you let it go or you get hit. And that can be used to like recharge stamina when you need to just take a break in the middle of a fight and you don't want to get hit. That harden into the dunk move is like my favorite thing ever. You don't have to do it that way. You can like harden into a regular attack. I just think it looks so badass. That just looks so cool to me. And then if you get really good with the game's mechanics, you can do some really like quick fluid combat where you're like hardening, doing damage, parrying. And then the thing with the parry, that again I don't show in this gameplay, is you have to have resolve to do the riposte, right? But if you don't, and you get 2 parries off, it'll let you do the riposte anyway. Those fucking icicles, man. See, that harden is a lifesaver. I also think it's pretty cool that each of the shells has a unique animation when they dodge that kind of explains the iframes, I guess, if that makes sense. Like with Harros, whenever he does a sidestep dodge, he like hardens, as you can see right there, and then Tiel turns into smoke because he's meant to be like this quick, super fast character that you can't catch, right? And then Harros is a tanky boy. Wait for it. Bam! Now wait for it again. Bam! Those fucking icicles. See, that was what confused me at first, was I wasn't sure why I died right there, and then I remembered that I got kicked out of my shell at the end of the first run. And if you get kicked out of your shell and then get hit again, it's an automatic death. And I guess it carried over. If anybody sees this video and wants me to do a more thorough playthrough of the demo or do like a thorough breakdown of the items in game, feel free to let me know. I am obsessed with this demo. It's only about an hour to 3 hours, depending on how quickly you get used to the mechanics of the game and the enemies. But I've played it a lot, like I said, like 5 to 6 hours. So yeah, feel free to let me know if you guys want to see anything else on the game. I'm Chubbs, and I suck at video games.